Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Super Metroid multi-category tournament. We have a GT Classic race today between JargleBargle and Jaychalke. On commentary, I'm Sloters, joined by Apathy Duck. Duck, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good. It looks like both of them are ready, so any second now we should see them starting off here. Yeah, it should be a pretty nice race. I'll put a little command in the chat for those that maybe don't know what GT Classic is.
Yeah, GT Classic is interesting one to see raced. Early on, there's kind of some different strategies you can do, amount of safeties you want to take before having to go down and do the lava dive and the green gate glitch, and then after that, it really opens up and becomes pretty straightforward. You get a lot of interesting strats that you wouldn't see normally. You basically get to do like the hundo strats without actually having to hundo anything, so it's a pretty fun category.
Yep, and they are off now, so the chat command kind of gives you the bullet points, but essentially what it is, GT Classic, if you enter the Golden Chorizo boss fight room and you hold a certain button combination, the game just gives you like every single item in the game and 100 missiles, 20 super missiles, 20 power bombs. The only thing it doesn't give you is screw attack, which is, as you probably know, right outside the room. So yeah, kind of like Duck was saying, it's sort of like a low percent run up until you get to that GT code, and then after that, it's sort of like a any percent / hundo, like boss rush mode, where you just have everything and just gotta fight all the bosses really quick.
Yeah, it's possible to do that lava dive with only. It's possible with just the one E-tank, right? Just picking up and then doing the high jumpless version. But it's very difficult. The high jumpless version is pretty hard to do. So I expect these guys will. If you get high jump, you kind of also get a free energy tank. So it's pretty decent safety that most people will get, and so they're really starting to push the category and are looking for every single second they can get.
Yeah, without the boots, you actually need 2 E-tanks, and it's like really close, like with your health. With high jump boots, you can only take 1 E-tank, but most people in race settings will take 2 because it kind of gives you an extra chance if you mess something up, miss a wall jump or whatever. But we'll see. There's some other safeties you can take as far as picking up extra ammo or even like the charge beam, so it kind of depends on their comfort level. But anyways, both Jargle and Jay off the series station. Jay getting off the ship a little bit quicker, so he'll have an early lead. As far as PBs go, Jay has a 45-minute something time posted. And as far as I know, JargleBargle does not have a time posted, so this could be his first run, or maybe he just hasn't posted a PB yet.
Yeah, well, Jargle did. So the way the vetoes went is Jaychalke vetoed low ice, and then Jargle ended up vetoing 100%. So I'd be surprised if this was Jargle's very first run. That'd be quite the strategy if it was.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, we got the game audio going now.
Jay opting to do the gap skips in the pit room. Those jumps are surprisingly tricky. You see, both of them are actually going for the gap skips, and Jargle failing the last one. But that room is just a nightmare, no matter how good you are.
Yeah, optimally, you want to just jump to each platform, but doing that gap skip's only a little bit slower, but definitely a lot more consistent. It's a good strategy.
So this is going to be pretty much like an 80% run up until charge beam, where we'll see the runners probably be skipping charge beam. You do get it with the GT code, so it's not necessary to pick up. It's not really needed for any bosses or anything. We're just gonna be fighting Kraid. which it does offer some interesting things. There's a couple of charge strats you would normally do in those next couple rooms that you won't be able to do. And we also are gonna need power bombs, so we have to get early power bombs. Charge beam does make that climb a little bit easier if you're used to it, so it does offer some challenges. They may end up picking it up if they're not uncomfortable doing the charger strats. Pretty good climb by Jaychalke there. Jargle heading up there right now. Climb is probably one of the more difficult rooms in the run, and it happens incredibly early. It can be a nice little reset point if you're trying for PBs.
Yeah, really a lot of these early rooms have a ton of wall jumping and ledge grabs, and trying to squeeze out every frame on them's pretty tough. Jay going into the BT fight now. Basically, what you want to do here is fire off 5 regular shots, and then finish the rest of the fight with the missiles that you can farm off of his little egg attacks. Unfortunately, Jay not really getting enough missiles after the first barrage, and took some damage, so didn't get all missile drops and had some health mixed in there too. So still gets through relatively quick, but this can be a chance for JargleBargle to catch up a little.
Yeah, that's why it's really important to have a clean climb. You really want to go into the BT fight at full health, so you're guaranteed the missile drops. Jaychalke with the first try Alcatraz, nicely done. Jargle having a little bit better of a fight, so closing this gap up just a little bit with that fight.
So one thing I want to point out, Jay is actually running through the pirates here. Normally in this category, you actually want to missile through them. If you're going like all out with the optimal strats to conserve on health, since you need to pick up an early power bomb pack, but you may be picking up some extra safeties or just plan on farming later at some point. So just something.
It could also just be a knowledge thing. If you're a crate first runner, that's just the strat you do, and you may just not be even thinking that, like, oh, I really need to be conserving my health in here. I did that my first run too, and then I kind of got to crate and I was like, I don't have any health at all. This is bad, because he wants some drops as well. And I was like, okay, maybe I should do the missile strat the next time I try this.
Yeah, it's hard when you're like switching between a lot of categories at once too, because some of them do run through and some of them don't. So doing a multi-category tournament's easy to get them mixed.
Yeah, it's a really minor. Basically, anytime you really need any category in which your health preservation is important for what you're about to do, you want to missile them. If you don't really care about health, then you can just go ahead and run through them. If anything, I feel like more cats actually missile them. Really, only if you're going straight to crate is the only time you really don't care.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So like 100, hundo, and 80%. So Jaychalke is skipping the charge beam. Makes sense. Again, it doesn't really help you that much. But again, if you're not entirely comfortable with it, it could, like especially if we see Jay struggle on the early supers climb, which is pretty difficult, even with charge. May have been better to perhaps just get it. We'll see.
Yeah, really at this point, what they're looking for is to have the ammo or equipment they need to get to where Kraid's at and then get the quick kill on them. So sometimes people will grab that missile pack, so it'll give them more ammo to take out some of the enemies, or they'll get charged to make the quick kill easier. But if you skip them like Jay is, you can also farm some of these enemies along the way, and you'll have plenty of ammo for that part.
Yeah, a few times I did this run, I just picked up the missile pack just because the 7 seconds was not going to be the difference for me. Jargle, this is interesting.
Yeah, this is another safety you can take. We don't really see it all the time, but grabbing the Spore Spawn supers in addition to the early supers pack will give you more chances at the green gate glitch.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
this.
as far as
I'm sorry.
timing goes, I think grabbing this pack is about the same amount of time as like failing the green gate glitch and
Yeah,
having to like restart.
That's what I was about to say. If you save right beforehand, saving as long as you farmed up, you're gonna have. If you do 2 times, you're gonna have effectively 10. I guess if you're really uncomfortable, this gives you 10 tries per save, as opposed to 5.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying it like all tournament. Green gate glitch is just a super finicky trick. It's like kind of once you understand the inputs, it's sort of just like a coin toss if you're gonna get it, you know? So more
Yeah.
tries is definitely good.
Whenever you're in the situation where you have like 1 or 2 tries at it and you manage to get it, it's a real feels good moment.
Yeah.
So Jaychalke with the early lead right now. We still have the lava dive and the green gate glitch to come up. If either of those go poorly, that's a pretty big opportunity for Jargle to catch up. Oh, Jargle falling. I don't know if he's gonna have enough time to get up here now. Yeah, it's unfortunate. This is like the quote-unquote easy way of doing it, but without like knowing exactly where these rippers are, which you would if you just go ahead and do it the first time. What can happen to Jargle can kind of happen where it's just difficult to kind of get around them. But he's just going with the backup of just supering all of them, getting them out of the way, and then it's just some pretty standard wall jumps to get up there.
I guess that's another nice benefit too of him picking up that Spospo pack, so you kind of can spare the supers there.
Yeah, he's gonna have to farm now to. Gonna need at least, I guess, technically just the 1 to be able to get into Kraid. But we do need basically we just need these. Well, I guess we're gonna need them in Lower Norfair too. But there's a hard requirement of getting right past the Ridley door. Oh, that's right. And the GT code would give us more. It will give us more when we get there. Oh, what's?
Oh no, Jargle. Yeah, you're supposed to have at least a Varia suit by the time you come to this area, so those green little caterpillar guys, they do a lot of damage without suits.
Yeah, looks like he's just in health bomb range there, so he got the health from the cax there. Meanwhile, Jaychalke with their Kraid kill, nicely done. We're gonna pick up the Varia suit. We need the Varia suit just mostly to get through that. We're not going to have enough opportunity to pick up enough energy tanks to skip this. So Vari just ends up being faster than just doing a pure hell run down there.
Yeah, that was a really good kill by Jay too. He kind of messed up at the start and sort of had to do a backup as Kraid was like charging towards him,
Yeah,
which is not very easy to do.
I was watching Jargle and I looked over at Jay's screen and I saw Kraid like way far up. I was like, oh, he messed it up. And then I saw Kraid die. I'm like, oh, I guess not. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but that must have been a very good backup then. Yeah, the quick kill can there is a charge strat that a lot of players do on Kraid. So again, if you're used to doing that and you don't have charge, again, it can be a little bit more difficult. Although if you're used to the missile strat, then it really doesn't make a big deal.
Jay's also getting another nice safety here, getting the Kraid E-tank. Assuming he's going to grab the high jump one, he'll have 3 E-tanks for the lava dive, which will probably give him like 2 or 3 tries depending on how he approaches it. So another good safety.
A little high five through the crate entrance right there.
Jargle trying to get some more ammo. Actually gets a super drop from one of those pirates. That was a pretty good drop. Now he has plenty for the quick kill.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he does the missile strap. You definitely want 2 missiles and then at least 4 supers coming to this room.
Did you see if you picked up charge?
No, I do not think he did.
Okay.
And Jay coming up through the top here doesn't really need those missiles. That's just a coming up through the bottom is kind of like something you have to know how to do. So if you're not familiar with it, just easier to go through the top, grab the missiles, and you're fine.
Ooh, I think Jargle only got 1 super in, so he's gonna have to fire a few more in a missile to finish off Kraid now.
Yeah, missing the crate quick kill can either be not too terribly bad if you're able to get maybe 2 supers onto Kraid, or it could be the worst thing ever if you just kind of yeeted all your missiles into his hand and then you have 0. Jargle still does have a super. Should be able to clean this up relatively cleanly. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good. I was hoping I didn't curse him.
Fun fact, you can actually soft lock in there if you don't have charge. There's some weird glitch where you can make one of the Kraid's like toenails or whatever not respawn, and only one of them in the room actually gives you drops. So I've seen at least one runner do that, where they had to forfeit a race from a soft lock there. Just kind of funny.
I think Jay didn't realize how good his first drop was because he continued to farm even though he was at max, and then he realized he wasn't getting any drops. He's like, oh, I guess I'm full.
Yeah, those guys are kind of stingy sometimes. I probably would do the same thing.
Yeah, he got 5 on the very first one, and then he farmed another 3 rounds.
Yeah, here's Jay's first lava dive attempt. So this is why we need the power bombs to.
I think he didn't, because he just went straight down. I don't think he saved. So this is gonna be a tense moment.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't blame him with how many E-tanks he has. Like, if he really gets into trouble, like, he can kind of realize it and like run back and farm. But he's probably fairly confident in this trick.
Yeah, I mean, no matter how confident you are, it's one of those tricks that like I said this during the RBO a little bit. It's, if you just play cleanly, it's fine. It's not really all that difficult. But it's just one of those things that normally one missed input, it's like, oh, that's going to cost me a couple frames or a couple seconds. Here, it kills you.
Yeah.
So it's everyone just pushes the wrong button sometimes. And we only got 1 try at it. That trick becomes a little bit harder. But Jay did get through it 1 chance. Messed up the little bounce ball strat. But again, with those 3 E-tanks, was able to recover nicely. Now we have the green gate glitch coming up. Did save before that. Again, it can just, even no matter how much you know how to do it, it's a 1 frame trick. So it can just go wrong several times. I always find it easier to do it on the way down than on the way up. But Jay ended up getting it on the 4th try right there. Very nicely done. We do have 1 potential hard lock coming up. If you're not careful, if it will give you all the items when you do this, and oh, Jay making the mistake I made my very first try. So the GT code gives you every item except for screw attack, and fun fact, it actually takes it away from you. I learned that the hard way, and I think Jay is going to learn that as well. But yeah, the soft look I was talking about is if you, it will give you all the beams, it gives you Spazer and Plasma, and equips everything will hard lock the game if you shoot that in the wrong way right after getting him. So you have to be a little careful. That's why you rolled in there, prevent you from accidentally, because you do have to hold all the face buttons, which includes shot. So if you roll in there, it's impossible to shoot until you can actually turn them off. But Jay cleaning up the GT fight very nicely. It's going to be kind of sad he doesn't have the screw attack. So Jargle will be able to catch up a little bit with the... Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world that he like doesn't have it, but it's just gonna make some areas a little different, a little more difficult, and just lose him some time in some spots. So he'll be okay.
Yeah, it's not too... He can do the shine through... excuse me, through fast for the pillars. So it's not too bad there. Worst room in the game, he's gonna have to do pretty much like KPDR now. Again, not the worst time loss. He's got a fairly good lead right here. But that is definitely, as someone who did that their first run, I was actually going to tell that anecdote, and I saw him do it. I'm like, oh no, I know what's going to happen. Because all I knew when I played it the first time was it doesn't give you screw attack. I'm like, okay, I'll just get it on the way in.
Oh, Jay actually going for sort of the new route style there, where you just power bomb at the top and then wall jump up. But fortunately got hit, so he's just gonna take the enemies out before space jumping up there.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. Normally with this item loadout, you see freezing one of the pirates on the wall to so you don't have to fall all the way back down. Speeds it up a little bit. Meanwhile, Jargle going through their lava dive. Hopefully this goes as well for them as it did for Jay. Yep, that's what can happen. I think that's gonna be a death. Yeah. Yeah, see, that's the main thing I'm worried about. Even with 3 tanks, if you kind of get hit by that there, that's pretty much going to kill you unless you're really efficient at coming down there.
That's like the worst mistake to make there, because it just does so much damage. You can't really like back out at that point because you've been in there for so long.
Yeah, it does a bunch of damage, and it's at the very end. So, and it knocks you down. It takes a while to fall down. While like if you kind of got hit by one of the flames in the very beginning, it's kind of savable with 3 tanks, but at the end, not so much.
Yeah. Jay going for the Kegel there instead of sucking up his pride, decides to keep going for it.
I can respect that. Also, doing the shine strats despite having plasma beam here.
Yeah, I don't agree with it, but
it's one of those ones that always makes me grind my teeth a little bit when I see it. But also going for a shine through here, that's a new one. And we're going to be hopping into our Ridley fight. So this is going to be pretty much the standard any KPDR Ridley fight. 20 shots with plasma. Normally you'd have a screw attack here to kind of allow you to jump through Ridley if you get into a little trouble. But for speed purposes, you kind of want to avoid that anyways, because you always want to be charging your beam here. So it's not that big of a deal. Little low on health, but we should be fine.
Yeah, typically you'd have like a ton of health here, so you could be very, very aggressive in this fight. He also has 300 energy in his reserve, so I mean, if he really needs to, he could pop into those. But yeah, this is usually a pretty quick fight.
Are those on auto right now, or because you got them, it didn't automatically set those?
They're still on manual, yeah.
They're set to
They'll
manual,
turn to auto once you like get a health drop that like puts you over 700, or if you just turn them on auto automatically. So at some point you might see the auto light up if he gets enough drop.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I know, like, right now it looks like he doesn't have grapple or X-ray. That's because the draw routine for all the stuff at top is based on when you pick up the items. Since we never picked it up, it didn't actually draw it. So I didn't know if it was the same thing with auto, or just that was triggered to picking up your first reserve. Alright, Jargle wisely not picking up the screw attack. Is looking at it, though. Did not roll in, so there's a risk of nope, and we got through it. Okay.
Oh,
He just
didn't
didn't do
activate
it.
the code. Yeah.
Oh, that's real unfortunate.
Yeah, so you have to be holding only the A, B, X, and Y button and nothing else. There's like a particular frame in the door transition where you need to be holding that. And if you're not holding one of those buttons or you're like accidentally holding, a shoulder button or something, then it just won't work. So I'm guessing that's maybe what happened is he was holding an extra button. Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to his inputs at the time.
I appreciate Jay's commitment to getting these tricks, even after he perhaps should move on to much like the Kago. Just sat there until he got the Wasteland Speedball to get out. It is one of those things that is like bombing it is so slow that it makes a little sense to go ahead and retry it. I'm not sure on the exact timings of retrying it versus just bombing your way out, but bombing your way out just definitely does feel pretty bad every single time. Oh, and yeah, unfortunately, Jargle having to reset.
Yeah, even with 10 supers, it's not free at all.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you could kind of, if you only half understand it, and you go like, okay, I can do this. You kind of just are throwing supers out there and hoping you kind of get the frame by luck sometimes until you sort of sit down and try it a little bit. It's also one of the things that are just unfun to practice. So.
Yeah. Jay almost decided to run through the Musketeers and like deboost through them, but probably realized he only had 51 health and it wouldn't be a good idea, so he uses some charge shots to take care of them.
Yeah, we're not going to be picking up any more E-tanks at this point, so health management is something that you have to pay attention to in this category. And Jay's at a little bit. I mean, he does have the option of picking up the bot 1 E-tank. That wouldn't be the worst time loss, but still, ideally, you would just go ahead and skip it and just carry this many E-tanks through the rest of the game.
Alright, Jargle's gonna go back into GT's room. Hopefully, looks like he's holding the right buttons.
I saw an L there at the end.
Oh, there was an L, wasn't there? I thought that was the...
Yeah. He may be... Oh, wait, no, that wouldn't matter. I was thinking maybe he was holding L so he doesn't do a shot, but you would just... you would just shoot anyways, just at an angle. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he just doesn't quite understand it. I don't know what this tournament's rules are on assisting the runners.
Yeah, I mean, if he asked, I would probably tell him. I don't know. Like we said earlier, like we're not sure if he's actually completed a run of this. I'm sure he's done some practice at least for.
Yeah, I mean, effectively, this was his choice. So we'll definitely have to ask him why he made that choice. It could just be he thought it was going to be fun. So sometimes entertainment value outweighs strategy. I'm usually not too scared of runner's health in this category, but Jay's looking a little shaky right now. Is going to have to go into the bot 1 fight is going to be absolutely free. I guess the Dragon fight is going to be free too. Never mind. We do have X-ray. We're just going to microwave both these bosses. Still, Coliseum can be a little nasty. Not going to be able to do any sort of shines there with his health unless he ends up going into his reserves.
Yeah, I guess we could explain what microwaving is. So, if you have the charge beam, plasma beam, and X-ray, you can do a technique on some of the bosses called microwaving. Essentially, what you're doing is firing a charge shot at these bosses and then activating the X-ray once it's over their hitbox. And what happens is activating the X-ray freezes the beam where it's at in the air, so it'll still keep contact with the bosses, and you can essentially let the iframes of those bosses run out as the beam is still on top of them, so you can hit them multiple times, if you do it over and over again. So we'll see that again with Dragon in a second, and also Fantoon towards the end of the run.
Yeah, it's interesting because it pauses some of the stuff in the game, but not the others. Like it pauses where the beam location, but does not pause the iframes. So just abusing that, we can just quickly murder bosses. Definitely works best with full beam, but you only actually need plasma and charge to actually do it. I mean, I guess you can microwave regular enemies without charge, but you don't really need to. So.
Nice thing about Dragon too with this is whenever Dragon dies, Samus is forced into a standing pose. So if you go to do this trick while you're crouched, a good cue to know that you've microwaved her enough is Samus will just stand up in the middle of your X-ray mashing. So you'll see a lot of runners crouched for that part.
See, this is why I like commentating with you guys, because I learn at least one new thing every run. So I'm gonna have to take advantage of that. I did not know that.
Yeah, unfortunately, none of the other bosses have a good cue, so you kind of have to just keep count or just know. I think Batoon stops making noise when he's out of health, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
I just keep doing it until it seems like he's probably dead. Yeah, that should do it.
Okay, that should work for JargleBargle.
Yeah, it looks like, yep, we finally got it. Okay, so Jargle should be in the safe part of the run now. Until you get to, if they do end up deciding to do stand-up, nothing else in this run is really going to go that wrong. I have a lot of health, a lot of ammo, full beam. Jargle will have screw attack. Meanwhile, Jay is heading up to the final boss. That's one of the reasons this character is kind of cool. Is you go basically to the bottom of the map, get all your items, and you just come straight up, kill the 3 remaining bosses, and then you go head straight to G4. So the routing in it is pretty efficient. There's really no backtracking or anything like that. It's just all the way down and all the way up.
Yeah, Jay is probably approaching the most difficult part of this run. Remembering that you actually haven't killed Fantoon and going to visit him. If you do a lot of old route, where the boss orders Kraid, Fantoon, Dragon, Ridley, it's really easy to be like in muscle memory mode and just go right to Torian at this point. So every now and then someone will forget that you still have to go fight Fantoon over there, but fortunately it looks like Jay does remember.
Yeah, just like Kraid and RBO. Just remembering Kraid is kind of impossible in RBO.
Ooh, and he's going for the Ocean Fly.
It's gonna be.
Can't remember what the cue is with the super, but it worked. All right.
It's not even really, because it's so dependent on your exact velocity you came in on there. At least when I'm doing it, it's a lot of feel, and there's different places you can get it. I did end up picking up the missile. Obviously, did not need that, but getting Ocean Fly and skipping the missile is pretty difficult. It is unfortunately one of those things that if you do pick up the missile, it would have been better off just not doing it because the fanfare is so long.
So Fantoon's also able to be microwaved, although it works a little bit differently. You can't just shoot him right away and start doing it. You actually have to first hit him with a missile or two to sort of aggravate him, and then you can fire the plasma shot. So it's a little trickier doing it this way, but it's still a one-round fight if you can get it off correctly. Oh, he gets a fast pattern, but hits
Oh
him with
no!
the super.
Oh no! He's really gonna be missing screw attack right now, but can't just do these pseudo screws to get through the flames. That's maybe Jay read Nintendo Power right before this started.
Yeah, I mean, 5 supers will do the trick.
it certainly will.
Jay might be fixing his timer. I don't know.
I'm not
Just
sure
based
what's...
on what he's saying in chat. But anyways, JargleBargle is farming up a bit. I think you might want to use a bunch of supers on Ridley.
Yeah,
Make it a little easier. So
Super Fight is...
they are the highest DPS weapon you can use.
Yeah, usually the I mean the Plasma Fight's not all that difficult, but supers does speed it up just a little bit. Alright, hopefully we'll be finishing off Fantoon right here. And we did get it, okay. Yeah, rage phases are generally not something you see in GT Classic all that much, so... But nice job cleaning it up. Meanwhile, Jargle in the Ridley fight, just unloading with these supers. And then... Okay, let's say. The Ridley fight is pretty difficult until you really start learning all of Ridley's patterns and AI. Ridley's AI is pretty complicated on everything you can do. So until you really spend a lot of time with it, it's a lot of reading and reacting. If you do it enough of even without like necessarily really getting into the actual AI, you can sort of start seeing patterns. But it can be a pretty tricky fight. And then Ridley can do this when he's dead. Just no, he really is dead. Just yeah, there we go. Jay went back. Did not get the space jump, the blue suit space jump across. So went back to retry it. Yeah,
probably didn't want to spark with his health right now, so kind of don't blame him.
Well, the space jump is faster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying he went all the way back into wreck ship to retry it instead of just doing a slightly slower space jump across, which at that point would have. Yeah, no, he failed the space jump, went back, and then tried it again. So, but he's been, if he has messed up a strat so far in this run, he is. Okay, I thought he was gonna go back again.
I like the attitude though. It's like it's just practice for him, right?
Yeah, well, he probably sees that he has a lead. Probably he's not going to PB on this run, so probably just having a little fun with it. So having screw for Key Hunter stairs is probably one of the nicer places to have screw in the run. This and Three Musketeers are probably the two main, and Worst Room in the game, are really the reasons you want to actually pick up screw attack for this run. Can't really think of any other place where it's really gonna help you out.
Yeah, it's mostly Lower Norfair.
Isn't it like if you're completely optimal, it would actually be slightly better to skip it, or you pick it up no matter what?
I want to say it's probably best to still pick it up even if you do everything super optimal.
Yeah, I think like maybe Taz level would be better skipping it, but anyway, Jay, in Metroids, these rooms are pretty difficult. Although we have, well, ideally we'd have a lot of health and a lot of supers.
Yeah, I mean, there's little spots too, like the little like bombable block in Meridia, like an aqueduct coming back from Dragon. So it's like little spots like that too. You know, they'll probably add up over time and make it worth it.
Yeah, it's like it's so in path. It's like pretty much exactly just the fanfare to pick it up. Like 7.5 seconds, I believe,
Yeah.
or 6.5.
Screw attack actually makes the Torian rooms really annoying because you can't like group them as easily just by space jumping into them. So I mean, a lot of people you'll see actually take it off like on the elevator coming into Torian, also because it makes the Zeb skip a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, with Screw Attack, you're either gonna have to do a speed Zeb skip or do like the down back Zeb skip if you don't turn it off. So if you're not confident in either one of those, it can be better just to go ahead and turn it off at that point.
The best way to actually do Zeb skip in this category is to do the spring ball Zeb skip, because if you do it right, you won't take any damage leading up to Mother Brain, and then if you have a damageless fight, you don't have to pause and use your reserves to top off for the stand-up glitch, but it's kind of difficult to do that.
It's interesting. I've never actually tried the spring wall. Jay not getting their baby skip would have been a little tight on health anyways if he did get it. So for stand up you need at least 7 E-tanks, somewhere in that 7th E-tank. In GT Classic it gives you exactly 700 energy, so as Slutter was mentioning, for you to be able to do stand up without taking or without filling up your reserves or using your reserves at all, excuse me, you need to be absolutely perfect. Any damage whatsoever from anything will force you to use reserves for stand up. It's still worth it, but it does definitely eat into the time loss or the time save. Jargle coming over here to farm. This is interesting. He does have, again, we do have the ability to microwave. If he was worried about his health, probably would have been better just to pick up the bot moon E-tank.
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna chalk it up to being inexperienced in the category, probably.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Man, wouldn't it be nice to be able to microwave Mother Brain?
Yeah, that would make that fight even more free.
Oh, it's free to survive. Again, if you're trying to be optimal, it's slightly trickier.
Yeah, so to initiate the stand-up glitch, I'm gonna assume Jay's gonna go for it. Oh, never mind. Don't have to talk about it now.
Yeah, you can do the stand-up here. We're not going to.
I think at best it probably saves like 20 seconds if you do everything right, but it's, you know, not really a big deal if you don't want to do it.
Yeah,
it's also has a lot riskier here than compared to like Hundo or like, you know, doing a rando where you have a lot more energy tanks than 700 on the dot.
Yeah, there are several soft lock opportunities in the stand-up glitch, especially with just at 7 E-tanks that the baby can detach early and be in a spot where Mother Brain can't get to it. So this is, again, probably the scariest one to do it in. So, again, given Jay's lead, the only thing that would really put this race back into contention is soft-locking on Mother Brain. So it may just been a race decision to just not bother going for it.
Jargle with a nice Dragon almost got her on the first swoop, but Had to have her come back for a goo to finish her off.
Yeah, it's
But
actually a
he's
little.
just got one boss left.
It's a little tricky to actually get it in one go.
Yeah, the timing's kind of weird with Dragon too. You can't really like just spam it like as fast as you can. You kind of have to like hold it for a little bit, then let go, and then hold it for a little bit again. There's kind of a technique to it.
Yeah, it's also one of those things that like the fight is so easy that like unless you're really trying to push this category like for PBs, it's probably something you're not. If you just like play rando or stuff like that, you probably don't spend a lot of time actually optimizing it. You just take your free fight and move on.
But with that, Jay finished up Mother Brain 3, so he's just in the escape sequence now, and then once he's on the ship, assuming he makes it there in 3 minutes game time, looks like he's going to be the winner of this one.
Yeah, I'd hope so.
Oh
man. That'd have been. Is he gonna? He's gonna re-go for it. Of course he is. He's gone for everything multiple times. So what he's trying to do is use the spring ball here to just get straight up there a little bit faster than the shine. Just ends up after after failing it several times, just going for the normal shine strat.
I was gonna say maybe he won't make it to the ship in
Yeah,
3 minutes game time if he just keeps going for it and doesn't get it fast enough. But yeah, it just does the spark and.
Yeah, I figure at some point he would. Once it got down to maybe about 45 seconds, probably just.
Jargle also doing an excellent job remembering he hasn't actually beat all the bosses yet.
I suppose the one nice thing about not remembering all the bosses is the game actually won't let you go further as opposed to like some other games where you just have to. You're supposed to do everything by rule, and then you forget, and then at the end it just is not valid. Jade not only rescuing the animals, but shepherding them out very politely.
And despite those bomb blocks being gone, Jay's committing to the Alcatraz still to get out of the animals area. So with that, Jay is going to shamefully complete his run. He's going to finish an SRL with a 47-minute and 6-second time. GG to Jaychalke. Congrats on the win.
Shoutouts to these Gorons, apparently.
Every baby Goron needs a home, I guess.
It's a lot of baby Gorons.
And nice microwave from JargleBargle.
Yeah, no enrage phases for Jargle. That's what you like to see.
Ooh, almost grabbing those mode missiles. Just space jumped over them.
Jargle will be winning the least amount of missiles category today.
They will have the same percentage though by the end of it. And we are joined by our winner, Jaychalke. Jay, good game.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. GG to JargleBargle. I know they were putting some practice in for GT Classic. They haven't. I don't think they ever finished a run, but I know that they were putting in some practice at least for the lava dive and whatnot. So we were talking beforehand, and we thought, or Jargle. I didn't actually know which category Jargle was going to choose, but I had a theory that he was going to choose GT Classic just because of there's a lot of room for error in GT Classic with the lava dive, with the green gate glitch, with the GT code itself, with just various things, and Hundo is pretty straightforward, and so probably would have a better shot with GT Classic.
Yeah, that's true. We've kind of been saying it's sort of like the equalizer, the lava dive and green gate glitch. It can definitely turn the tide if your opponent has a edge on you as far as movement execution goes.
Yeah, fortunately it ended up backfiring because you had a nice lava dive, green gate glitch, just one shot all of that, and Jargle did have some troubles with it. So that was honestly the bulk of the difference here.
I to be honest, I hadn't done a GT Classic run in like over a year, and so I was just trying to piece together a route, but I didn't realize that screw attack gets taken away from you if you pick it up first. And so like I'm trying to like screw attack through the locks. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, do I have to equip screw attack when I get it? And then I turned on or went to my menu and I was like, I didn't have screw attack. And so I was like, oh, did I forget to pick it up? And then I went back down to check the screw attack location and it was gone. I was like, what?
I did that my very first run, and I always tell that anecdote, and then you went ahead and did it. I'm like, well, he's gonna be missing that.
I was very much missing that because funny enough, like even with all of that, I was still about 50 seconds ahead of my PB coming out of Lower Norfair. So I was like, even just not having that screw attack. I mean, screw attack definitely costs you quite a bit of time because you can just torch right through everything. Especially the worst room in the game was slower because I had to power bomb everything, and the Franker Z Three Musketeer room, I don't know what you call it, was slower because I had to kill the pirates because I only had 51 health. I was like, I'm gonna try to damage boost through these, but I'm just like, don't really have the health for that. So also I was watching Sloaters once a couple months ago. They were doing GT Classic, and they did that escape from wrecked ship with the spring ball jump across the moat, and I'd never seen that before. But like, I'm all about spring ball tricks, and so I'm always interested in learning things that involve the spring ball because it's my favorite item. And so I sat down for like hours learning that trick, and so I was happy that I was able to pull it off. Even though it took me 2 tries, I was so excited. So
yeah, you seem to be quite had your mindset on doing every single trick. The Kago in 3 Metal Pirates was that was especially.
Yeah, so it's weird because like it gets to the point where I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna do the trick that's obviously quicker, right? And then I mess it up. I was like, okay, it still might be negligible, but I'll try it again. But then it's just like, okay, why can't I get this? So that it's more like a pride thing. And so it's like, when do I give up? It's like I'm impulsive and I don't ever give up. So it's like,
I'm gonna say when the platform is high enough that you can just roll off and then roll down to the next one is probably when you should give up on the Kago.
Yeah, that seems like a good bar.
If I had to guess, that's probably when you should go ahead and move on. But I mean, you did that one. You did the Wasteland Speedball a couple times, and then going back into wreck ship for the space jump across. So I certainly appreciate the dedication. Oh, and of course, Blue Bomber at the end.
Yeah, I was mad about that. I usually get that within a few attempts. I was happy that I got Ocean Fly, but didn't have the health to complete the full.
Well, and I mean, do you really get Ocean Fly if you pick up a missile? I don't know. We're gonna have to check.
Yeah, I've done it once before. It's a lot tighter, but you can skip across the missile if you just do it just right.
No. I'm saying you picked up the missile. I don't know if that still counts as getting ocean fly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm just sorry. I'm throwing a little low key shade here. No, it's definitely a difficult trick. So it's nice. It's nice to see even with picking up the missile. But yeah, I appreciate all the swag in this run.
Mhm.
I mean, he flew across the ocean. So
He did fly across the ocean. So
I do
guess,
kind of flying, yeah.
I guess.
So yeah, there was a race. I believe it was I don't remember. It was maybe a year or two ago. Ponk was commentating me versus, I think it might have even been French Lightning John. I'm not sure, but I went for the ocean fly, and Ponk said, "Oh, Jaychalke's going for the ocean fly. Oh, doesn't look like he's gonna get it." And then I got it because it was just like the absolute last possible frame that you could do. Oh no, Jargle.
Yeah, he's.
I don't think he realizes he has. Oh, he didn't have reserves.
Okay. He kept moving out of the way of the. He was trying to Crystal Flash, but he kept moving out of the way of the power bomb, so he wasn't in the, the right pixel for it. But it does get eventually.
I'm gonna have to
for going for it.
That was almost Monka.
That's the first Mother Brain Crystal Flash I've ever seen. That's,
Ooh, taking a lot of damage.
So he does, with the Crystal Flash, he does have the reserves still.
That's cool. So what are the categories for next week?
That's a good question that I have the answer to, and I'm not looking up right now. It's RBO, All Bosses, and GT Classic.
Sick. Cool.
That should be a fun one. All three of those are interesting categories. So.
Do you have experience in RBO, Jay?
I do. I have a 134, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's pretty respectable time.
I think it's probably my best category, or it's my best category out of all the categories I run.
It's faster than me, so.
Yeah, it's a brutal category.
Is that still with Double Meridia, or that's a pretty good time?
That is that's with Double Meridia, but I don't do Botswoon E-Tank anymore, so it's like a 1.5 Meridia.
Yeah, the Botwoon is pretty far to get. The supers are honestly more valuable in Meridia than the
I get the crab and the beach or watering hole.
Yeah, it's the same route I run. Or at least last time I tried it, which has been a hot minute now.
Yeah, I've also been trying this new route that Zenny and Hero developed. It's actually.
I was wondering if you were going to say the new route that Cross develops, because that was. I don't know if you saw any of that match a couple days ago, but that was some interesting routing that Cross did in his RBO run.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, the RBO tournament on Speedrunners Arena, the one that Shiny Zenny won. I did this new route that they came up with. I kind of liked it, but I didn't really have a lot of time to practice that particular route. It's kind of an interesting route, but yeah, I like RBO. RBO's fun. It's brutal. I like GT Classic too. GT Classic's fun.
Yeah, they're both good for this kind of category. They're both good equalizers. No matter how good you are, you can definitely make mistakes in either one of them that cost you a fair amount of time.
Exactly.
GT Classic obviously being pretty front-loaded. Once you get the GT code, if you don't have a lead at that point and get someone who's a better executioner, then you're probably not going to pull off the win at that point. But definitely a lot of opportunities before then.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder if have there been high jump lava dive GTs yet?
Not that I've seen, but not that I've watched like all of them, so I'm not really sure, but I would think no. Yeah,
I would also think no.
Yeah, there's maybe like 2 or 3 guys that maybe go for Sotos. Would you even go for that in this?
I don't know. It feels like kind of silly, even if like I have a really good opponent. So, I mean, I feel pretty good about the trick, but it's like you said earlier. It's like one missed input, and
Yeah, there's just no backup. It's if you miss an input, you're done.
Yeah, I think you would
Unlike
need to see like
unlike with high jump boots, you know, if you miss an input, you at least have a little bit of time to recover. But with high jumpless, it's over.
maybe if we get like a Zeus versus QD GT Classic, maybe we'll see it. Because again, you'd have to have two runners who are both good enough and confident enough to do it, and then also the race being close enough that that time save looks attractive enough to go for it.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna get the man.
All right, Jargle.
Can we just not even count this race?
yeah, I think as an organizer, I have the power to just null this matchup.
I sold out for that I was a sellout for that animal save, I'll admit. Someone said I'll gift a sub if you save the animals. So
I mean, you waited for all of the animals.
I did. I was like, I'm gonna make it worth it for you.
All right, Jargle coming in.
GG Jargle
with a 1 hour 18-second run. GG, nice run. Not going to be able to interview with us today, unfortunately.
I just want to shout out Jargle. Jargle I've known for like almost 3 years now. Definitely one of my greatest friends in this community. So it was awesome to get to race against him. And thank you, Slutters and Duck, for commentary. It was awesome. I listened to it while I was racing. It was great. And thanks, chat, for hanging out. Hope everyone has a great day.
Yeah, thank you for coming in, Jay. I guess with that, let me just peek at the schedule a little. It looks like we're going to have one more match for today. It'll be Junie June versus D-Drag on SpeedGaming 2. So this channel right here, actually, just within the hour. Yeah, that's it for today. We have a lot more matches throughout the week, so make sure you keep an eye on the schedule. If you haven't already, make sure you follow these runners, JargleBargle and Jaychalke, both of them. Very strong Super Metroid runners, as you could see today. They put out some entertaining content, so make sure you check them out. And Duck, thank you for joining me on the commentary. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no problem.
With that, unless you have any other words, Duck, I think that about does it for us.
No, I think I'm good. I think you pretty much summed it up. So I'll let you close us out here then.
Right on. All right. Yeah. Again, make sure to check out the schedule. Another match coming up in an hour, and we will see you next mission.